A long time ago, Earth was a large object, slowly revolving around the sun. Unlike today, I was living in a little village on a beautiful little island, unknown to many. As children, our life there was relaxed. The internet, mobile phones, and computer games were a very distant reality. As kids, the only duty we had back then was to go to school. After coming back home, we would play until the evening with our toys that we had made ourselves. This is not a story about diecast racing, not a motivational speech or life story of some important person. This is a story of someone you probably never heard of before. It all happened soon after I turned 10. One morning, a tall, fair-skinned, handsome-looking gentleman showed up at our door, carrying a huge suitcase. There was no bus service in the village at the time, and the roads were just being paved. He had come in one of those service trucks from the company that was paving the roads in our village. I kept wondering why he came to our house, and with such a big suitcase. Who was he? Why such a big suitcase? Was it all clothes? My parents then introduced me to him. He was one of our uncles. In fact, he was my mom's youngest brother, who had moved away from the country at a very young age to work abroad. He had come to visit us and say goodbye before settling in his new country for good. Mom said he would stay with us for a few days. He was very friendly and a funny storyteller. I loved him. He told me many stories about his career and his travels by air and sea. I liked his stories so much that I almost forgot about his big suitcase and what could be inside. I just wanted to hear more stories. One afternoon, my family was having tea in the garden. It was my chance to sneak away and find out what was in the suitcase, even though I knew it was a naughty thing to do. Either way, I went into my uncle's bedroom and saw the suitcase. I touched its sides without opening it, trying to guess what was inside. I felt something hard in one of the side pockets and decided to check what it was. I slowly unzipped the pocket to take it out. When I saw it, I could not believe my eyes. It was a toy car, but not just any toy car. It was the most beautiful toy car I had ever seen. It was so small. Its body made of metal and plastic wheels, or maybe even rubber ones. It was painted just like a real car. It had the number plate, headlights, and windshield wipers, even a brand logo. I felt like I had a real car in my hand. I was so excited I was shaking. I turned it upside down, and I could see some English letters written underneath. HotWheels, HOTWHEELS. I stared at it for a while, then put it back in the suitcase and left. That little car was different. I had never seen anything like that before. Everything I had seen when going into town with my dad was made of plastic and unfinished. I could not stop thinking about the toy car. Was it a gift he brought for me? Did he forget to give it to me? Or maybe it's his own. Or it's a gift for another child. I kept thinking over and over about it. But I did not dare ask him about it. Had I asked, he would know I had opened the bag and that I had been a naughty boy. A few days later, when I got back from school, my uncle was getting ready to leave. I wondered if there was another way to ask him about the toy car, but I could not figure it out. I had hoped that he would come to me and say, "Here, this is for you." I waited. He was finally ready to go. He had to leave early because it was a long way from our little village back into town. My hope was gone. I could not think straight, and my eyes were in tears. I had to do something, otherwise I might never see such a beautiful little car again. Had he really bought it for me? Surely he would give it to me if I asked. I could see him walking down the road. There was still time. I ran to my parents and I told them everything. I was sobbing and it was hard to find the right words or even talk, but my dad listened to me very patiently and said I should go and ask him about the car. But how can I ask him now? He has already left. If I were you, I would get the bicycle and chase him. Yes, the bicycle, I thought. I jumped onto the bicycle and I went as fast as I could to catch him, but he was already very far down the road. I tried shouting and calling, but he could not hear me. The service truck from the paving company was passing by, making a lot of noise and lifting lots of dust. So much of it that I could not see where I was going, and I had to stop. When the dust settled, I could see my uncle in the distance getting into the service truck. I had missed my chance. I would never see that beautiful little car again. A long time had passed. Earth was now a very small object rotating very fast around the sun. I was grown up and I had a cute little son. One day, I was on vacation with my wife and son. My wife wanted to buy new clothes, and she was spending a long time browsing every shop. My son was getting bored and wanders into the toy store. I followed him in, and when I caught up with him, he showed me a little toy car along with a wide smiling grin. I could not believe my eyes. How could it be after all these years? It was just like the same toy car my uncle had in his bag. I almost forgot about that shiny new car. Now the toy car was in my son's hands, as he looked up at me with the same hopeful eyes I had when I was a 10-year-old boy. I said, "Would you like that toy car for yourself?" Before I could finish the sentence, he blurted out, "Wow, can I really have it, Dad?" "Of course, my son," I said. Now that little toy car gave my son the same joy and happiness I hoped for years ago. As we left the toy store, my son asked, "Can I really keep this car my whole life?" "Of course you can," I said, "and one day I will tell you the story of another little boy and a toy car." My son's eyes were shining. He jumped up and hugged me long and hard. If he only knew how happy I was too.